So hi there, welcome to issue 22 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer. Promise you it is a short issue this time. When I say it's a short issue, it is. It's a paint issue this week. So we have two paints. We have a base paint, Averland Sunset, and we have a contrast called Gryph Charger Grey. I'll show you the paints, and then we'll just paint one little bit using each colour, and we'll see how they go. So enjoy. So this is issue 22 of Warhammer Stormbringer. This is a paint episode, and in this episode we get Averland Sunset and Gryph Charger Grey. One I've used before, one I've never used before. You will also notice on my desk you've got the paints, a little what I'm using as a palette, some brushes, and a couple of models that you'll see before. I will introduce those a little bit later on. Let's have a quick look through the magazine. So we have the Realm of Shadow, we have more about the Age of Sigmar, Death in the Mortal Realms, more about Stormcasts, more about the Cruel Boys. And this one, they go on a lot about shading. They tell you all about a shade brush, which I'll show you a bit later on. Shade paint and contrast paint. What they do, the differences. So shade paints and contrast, they have similar consistency and applied in a similar way. Both are designed to be applied to large areas where they provide natural looking shadows. Shade paints are designed to shade detailed areas and recesses. Remember when I did a shade before and it just highlighted those, it low lighted the recesses. Contrast paints provide strong all over colour. So let me bring this closer to the camera. You can see there that shade paint, I might just have to zoom that in a bit. So there's the shade paint, and it's hit mostly the lower details, all the recesses, whereas the contrast paint still hit all of the details, but it's also coloured the main areas as well. So like I say, I've never used a contrast paint before. It seems like some kind of voodoo magic. But yes, it tells you all about how to applying shade, loading the brush, focused shading, how to deal with pooling, recess shading, all over shading, and then shading larger models. And they're shading some models that we haven't received yet. Tide marks, how to deal with them, and then we go on about painting with our new paint. Usual thing, we need to apply the Averland Sunset to various models, and then we need to do the Gryph Charger Grey to various models, but we'll look at that a bit later on. And we have a little bit more on the rules, and then obviously we always have our little battle at the end, a bit more stuff there. And then in the next episode, we're going to be having two models, a Lord Aquila, and we're going to have a Loon Boss. So that's coming in the next one, and we've got our yellow already. So also in this subscriber pack, which is issues 19 to 22, I've saved them for now because I'm a subscriber. I got this free gift, which is a large base brush, which is very nice, so much nicer than when you're doing larger areas. It's so much nicer than the medium base brush, which as you can see I have made a mess of. We also get a large dry brush. I don't know if I'll use that. I quite like the Citadel dry brushes, but I have some dry brushes that I actually prefer. And then lastly we have got a medium shade brush, which is we're going to be needing that today. So let's have a look at the paints. So first of all, we have Averland Sunset. So let's give that a good shake. I did give it a good shake pre-video, because obviously you don't know how long this has been sitting there. I mean, I know how long I've owned it. So you can see it's a deep yellow. I'd call that more of a brown. It's a really good base for a yellow. What we'll do is we'll paint things with this, and we'll paint the all over colour. We'll then shade in the recesses, and then we'll add the highlights of a much brighter yellow. So what we're going to do today, we'll get some on our palette. As you can see, as with all base paints, it's really thick, really nice. I do like Citadel paints in the sense that they may be expensive per milliliter, but because they're thick, this is a 12 mil pot, but you'll get 24 mils or even more out of it, so that should be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to be painting the beaks of these. I'm going to have to zoom out a bit. So as with all my thinning, the first coat always looks terrible. And I've actually thinned this with water today. I normally use my own thinners, but hopefully you'll be able to see what a nice colour it is. Not actually sure if I've hit the right bits. So that's what it looks like after one coat. What I'll do is I'll paint the other one, and hopefully by the time I finish painting this one, the first one will be dry and ready for a second coat. If not, we can always move on to onto the contrast paints. I do like these paints, they're very, very nice. They do the job very, very well. And if I didn't thin it quite so much, the coverage would be wonderful. Right, so that's not really dry yet. Not quite. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on to the contrast paint. And this comes in a bigger bottle. It is a bit more expensive to buy in the shop. This is an 18 ml, and this it definitely feels like a liquid, like the shades. And there you can see how runny it is. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to take this, and what we're going to do is we're going to apply it exactly the same way as a shade. Ooh, that colours the brush. And that's going to go. Oh yeah, I can see the difference. A shade generally doesn't give it all over colour, whereas this does. Am I still in camera shot, guys? So try to sort of swoop over any details. So you've got a bit of a before and after. Is that showing up okay, guys? I've actually taken my glasses off, so I can't actually see. Now, if any of you guys have used these contrast paints before and you want to leave any comments, please do. As I say, I'm not experienced with contrast paints at all. But you can see it's coloured all of it now, whereas a shade wouldn't colour it as much. It's definitely sat in the recesses. And it's just picked out all that detail. Let me put my glasses on so I can see the monitor as well. So it's definitely picked that details out. And yeah, that's quite nice. Oh, and I missed this bit at the back. So it's just blended that from stark white to heading towards the blue. This is more of an experiment, guys. This isn't what they've told me to do. I wonder what would happen if I painted over the wings. Not a lot really, because it's a blue over a blue. But on the body, it certainly made it. I think this is what they're referring to as speed painting. So rather than actually filling in all the details, you can just paint with this. Right, guys, let's go back to... oh, look. Brush has cleaned up really nice. Right, so let's go back to this yellow and we can do a second coat. Should be dry by now. There we go, guys. So that's what it looks like with the second coat. So that's what the Averland sunset looks like. Might actually need a third coat. Probably will. Also, it doesn't help that I'm painting it over brown. But yeah, that's what the Averland sunset looks like. So now I don't know if you can see it, but if you hit those high areas, pointy bits, you can see how it's really going to help those highlights form. Okay. Right, guys, that is all I've got to show you then for this issue. Do you know what? I should really leave the last page until we finish, because I don't want to say what's coming next week because I've already said it, but that's how I like to finish an episode. So hope you join me in the next episode. Now, we are taking a break. No, we're not. This is coming next week, but after next week there will be a break. So yeah, guys, so I hope you join me in issue 23 and 24, which will be the Lord Aquila, and a Loom Boss. So yeah, looking forward to those, guys. Take care. Bye bye.